We are passing out our injury report for this week. Let me know if you have any questions. And now here's head coach Bob Toledo.
Thanks, Raj. First of all, let me kind of recap last week a little bit. As a staff, we were really on our players hard last week. The Tulsa game, in our opinion, was unacceptable. We didn't play very well, made way too many mistakes, and beat ourselves. But the good thing about it, it was great to see our players respond to the challenge. We were on them, and they responded to it. And as a coach, that gives you a good feeling because they're paying attention, so to speak. They were definitely very focused during the course of this football game, and they really played with a lot of intensity. If you saw the game, you know what I'm talking about. The nice thing about it, though, is that we didn't beat ourselves. I constantly talk about more games are lost than won. We didn't beat ourselves, and that's the first thing you got to do. You got to keep from losing the game. And then the other thing is we made a lot of plays, and that obviously helped us. It was the largest margin of victory in a Conference USA game in 16 years for us, and it was our best start. It's been our best start since I've been here. Hopefully we can keep it going. But the important thing now is we got to show maturity, and we got to put UAB behind us and really concentrate and focus on the upcoming opponent, and that's Duke. So they've had time to enjoy the victory. Now they got to move on. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of time to enjoy it. We get home late Saturday night, and we as coaches got to be back Sunday. And it's a tough profession because you just never enjoy the fruits of your labor until the whole season's over, and then hopefully you've had a good season. Hopefully we're learning to overcome adversity. That's one of the things I've tried to talk to our team about. That it's a 60-minute game, and bad things happen during the course of the game. You have to be mature enough and understand that those things are going to happen. You got to overcome them, and that's the thing we've tried to preach to our guys. I get tired of something bad happening or getting behind, and all of a sudden it's the Tulane attitude of here we go again. I'm tired of hearing that. And I've told them that. I don't want to hear that here we go again attitude. Okay, that's for losers. We need to start winning, and we need to start developing a different attitude. Bad things are going to happen. Overcome them, and it's how you respond to them that's important. And I constantly preach to our guys, never give up and never quit. Because if you never give up and you never quit, you always got a chance. As soon as you give up, the game's over. Okay? We've all been in a lot of football games over the years and in sports that we've seen things happen that are, you can call them miracles, whatever you want. But if you keep trying and you keep playing hard, you've always got a chance. And that's one of the things I try to preach. Obviously, we still have a lot of work to do. We're not the finished product by any means. We got to continue to improve daily, and we got to get better. And that's what we're going to practice for. Special team-wise, our punt return were pretty good last week. Our kickoff, we fumbled it and then picked it up and ran it. We averaged like 21 yards. That was okay. But our kickoff coverage was very poor, and it's something we've addressed. We got to change a few people and get better at it. Our kicker, Santos, has a slight growing strain, didn't kick the last few kicks, but is able to kick field goals. But what we're going to do is we're going to try to rest him up during the course of the week and see if he'll be ready to kick field goals next week. Ryan Rome will probably assume more responsibility during the week and, of course, during the game. But our coverage has got to be better. We got to get in our lanes. We got to stay in our lanes. We had a couple freshmen actually run out of their lanes, gave up the touchdown early. So we got to improve that. What they got to understand is when they get good returns, they're either touchdowns or they're giving up field position. And that goes for the defense, so we can't be doing that. And then field goal-wise, we bobbled a snap. It was a good snap, and we bobbled it, and we didn't get any points out of it. Offensively, I thought we played very physical. It's one of the things I preached to them during the week is be physical and give us great effort, and they did. I thought we blocked very well. I thought we ran the ball hard. We threw the ball well. Griffin was hot, and we caught the ball well. We only had one drop in this game. Like we did a week ago, they had about 5 or 6 drops, which took them out of drives this last week. We met all of our offensive goals. We had 4 explosives. We didn't turn the ball over. We didn't have any sacks. We were good in the red zone, so from that standpoint, I was really pleased. Very balanced. We had 262 yards rushing, 272 yards passing. We had 28 first downs, 42 minutes time of possession. I'm not a big time of possession guy. I want to score points. but what it does, it keeps your defense off the field, and our defense got off the field on third downs. Defensively, again, we played physical. We played with great effort and intensity. We stayed focused and played hard throughout the game. In the past, we've lost a little focus sometimes, and I thought we did a good job of that. We made some big momentum plays. We had 3 interceptions. 2 of them run back for touchdowns, Mackey and Strozier. Those were huge. We only gave up 1 explosive play this week, and we were good in the red zone. And for the first time since I've been here, we met all of our defensive goals, which was pretty impressive. Overall, we lead Conference USA in sacks with 5, interceptions with 5, sacks with 10, time of possession 36.22, turnover margin, which is crucial, +1 per game. As far as Duke is concerned, they're 1-2. They beat Boston College 20-19. It's another road game for us. It's an ACC opponent, a BCS opponent. I think David Cutcliffe has done a nice job. You're all familiar with him, having been at Tennessee and Ole Miss, but he's done a nice job. He's got a very young team like us as well. Last week, they were 43 of 55 throwing the football for 384 yards and 2 touchdowns. They had 7 players catch passes. Their quarterback, Sean Renfrey, he's very patient. He knows where to go with the ball. And he's extremely accurate. Their wide receivers, Donovan Vanover, had 12 catches. Connor Vernon had 116 yards, 2 touchdowns. They've got a defense that is going to be very difficult to move the ball on. They pack the paint. Is that a basketball terminology deal? Pack the paint. So Duke packs the paint. They're going to get 8 or 9 guys up there close to the line of scrimmage. So we've got to be able to be successful running the football, and we've got to take our shots when it's time, and we got to make some plays in the passing game. They've got a defensive end, Kenny Anunnaki, I guess it is, and he's got 4 sacks. He's pretty good. And their safety, Matt Daniels, number 40, he's a heck of a player. He's up for the Ronnie Lott award, and he's really good. Our captains this week are going to be Trent Mackey, and we all know that Trent originally went to Duke and then transferred back. And then Steve Barnett. Steve Barnett is playing several positions for us, playing tailback, and he's also playing a fullback position and on special teams. And then lastly, Ryan Griffin was named co-Conference USA Offensive Player of the Week. He really played well, had an excellent game this last week. Any questions?
Why do you play better on the road?
Well, I think probably one of the reasons is there's just less distractions. You know, when you're at home, your friends are around, your family, for the most part, is around if they don't go to the game. When you're on the road, you only take 65 or 66 players with you. And it's kind of like us against the world, you know. There's no distractions in that sense. You know, we're in the locker room. There's not guys coming in and out of the locker room, and I hate to kick them out of the locker room at home, but the guys that aren't going to play are a little bit of a distraction because they like to laugh and have a little fun and talk, and we don't need them talking. And that's something we got to do a better job of at home. And we try to put them in a separate area of the locker room, but they're still there. It's just there's not as many distractions, I think.
Does the atmosphere have anything to do with that?
Possibly, you know, I don't know. Possibly, you know, I can't answer that.
But, I mean, if you look over the last year and a half, the way you played at Rutgers,
Mhm.
UTEP, when you've been a double-digit underdog, I know you don't really know all that stuff, but when you've been a double-digit underdog on the road, you actually perform very well.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I really think it's the distraction thing. There's not as many distractions. You become more focused on the road than you do at home. You've got them sequestered, so to speak. And I think that's important, you know, it's you guys, your team, against all those other people out there. Well, first of all, I wish we would have got him originally because, you know, he was in our football camp and we knew how good of a football player he was. And we offered him and he committed to us. And then like the night before, he changed his mind and went to Duke. But very pleased that we got him. You know, when he did transfer, I talked to David Cutcliffe and he says, hey, you're getting a heck of a player. He's got a great nose for the football, and we knew that. and just really pleased that he came back home and he's playing for us. And you watch him. I mean, he's on punt team. He runs down. He's one of the first guys down on punt. He's running all over. He's making a lot of tackles. He's on the goal line and at fullback. You know, he's a heck of a football player. Very pleased to have him.
You mentioned earlier about the whole Tulane, here we go again attitude. I think 5 years into the year that you'd still be going with that.
You know, I would hope that eventually it goes away. But, you know, I had this leadership council group. And matter of fact, I've got it today. Every Tuesday at 1 o'clock, I meet with them. And that was one of the things going in against Tulsa. You know, here it's halftime, and they scored just for half, and it's 10-3, and we're walking down that tunnel, and nobody's excited because it's like, oh, God, here we go, you know. And it's a mentality that drives me crazy, and it's one that we're trying to change. And I thought a couple years ago when we beat El Paso in that overtime game, I thought, man, this is going to change now. And it didn't. And hopefully with the leadership we have in our senior class, these guys are tired of losing. You know, I told them last week, I'm tired of losing. And hopefully, if you just keep hitting home with it, eventually maybe it'll turn. And hopefully it is. They got to learn to play for 60 minutes when bad things happen.
You spoke a lot last week about it. There were a lot of mistakes that you couldn't see in the press box and really took you looking at the film. Were all of those pretty much cleared up last week?
Well, let's put it this way. There were a lot less mistakes. We had a couple receivers run some routes I'm going to have to put in because I've never seen them before. But, you know, and you know, I don't want to name who, but we got to continue to improve. You know, it bothers me that when you practice something and you do it well in practice, that you don't take it to the game. It bothers me that when you practice your game plan on Thursday, we rehearse the whole game plan, and then Friday we come here, we look at that whole thing, and I make corrections, and I tell the kid, hey, you're doing this. What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to do that. Yeah, got it? Yeah. Then they do it in the game. It drives you crazy. But they're kids. And sometimes their interest is different than our interest. You know, they don't make a living at it. This is fun for them. It is a game. It's fun to win. And for me, it's a business. And it's hard when they don't do it right.
Well, when you take a lead, you have a good first drive, and you're playing good offense, does that help eliminate a lot of those mistakes compared to maybe that two-way attitude that maybe you've spoken about before? Maybe that creates a bit more?
Well, I think anytime you can get off to a good start, it helps, you know. But we've been off to good starts in the first 3 games. You know, I think we've been ahead in all 3 games. You know, we script an initial drive. We try to make it successful. But again, it's you got to perform. You know, it doesn't matter what kind of play you draw up if they don't get the ball off, or if they throw a bad pass, or if they drop the ball, or they give up a touchdown. It doesn't matter what you draw up. It's the people game. The players got to play the game, and our players really played well Saturday. Yes. Am I going on? Am I rambling on too much?
You know, the holder issue. Did you look at making a change there? You continue to have trouble trying to get that snap down.
Well, you know, one of the things I try to do is I give them a little bit of, responsibility, a little bit of, they can tell me what they think. And one of the things the kicker said, I like this guy holding, I don't like that guy holding. So you want to make them feel comfortable, you know. If you're playing golf, I want this caddy, not that caddy, you know. So Cairo said, I feel comfortable with this. So now we said, hey, maybe we put Ponder back, but Ponder fumbled a snap 2 years ago against Rice, you know, so it happens. It happens. I'd like to have a quarterback do it myself because then I could run a trick play. It's hard. I mean, that looked like a trick play the other day for -3 yards passing. So.
I know that Cairo feels, I don't know, sympathy, I think, for Ryan having beat him out for the kicking job. And, not that he wants to give that up, but do you not think that plays into his predilection to have Rome?
Well, I think the thing you got to understand is they get an opportunity to practice all the time. When we're doing something else, they're over there snapping, holding. They go out before practice. When we're meeting and doing things, they're out there working on it. So they work at it a lot. So they feel more comfortable with the guy that they're working with more than they do with the guy who comes in just to hold for your 5-minute PAT field goal period. So I think it's a comfort feeling, and, that's all I can say. Yeah.
Flipping to Duke, not only do they pass a lot,
Did you watch film?
Read the stories.
Okay.
But they said that they wanted that quarterback to cut loose a little bit, and he did. You know,
Yeah.
that poses a specific threat to a secondary that is still developing for you.
Well, let me say this. In watching their film, and David Cutcliffe, I've known David for years. When I was at UCLA, we played him at Tennessee, you know. He is the most patient coach I've ever seen throwing hitches. A lot of coaches, they'll throw one or two and then they get off it. He will throw it until you throw up. I mean, he will throw it and throw it and throw it until you just take it away. So to say taking shots deep,
Shots down.
he does. Well, look at their stats, and that'll tell you a little bit, okay? But their thing is we're gonna complete passes and move the ball. Their passing game is very similar to we're gonna run the football. They're doing it by throwing a football sometimes, and they do have an outstanding running back. But their quarterback is gonna throw high percentage passes and complete them. So you got to take some of those away.
So in other words, that plays to your strengths a little more.
I don't know, we'll find out, won't we? Anybody else?
Bob,
Yeah.
you said earlier, you really pushed your players after the Tulsa game, during the weekend after this game. You see the result that you got from it.
Mhm.
How much are you hoping that players will, feel like will go on and say, you know what, this is how we did it last week, reaching up to a big game.
Yeah.
It's going to take that kind of attitude, leading up to every game you go to shit.
Yeah. I think it gets back to leadership of your football team. You know, who are the leaders of your football team? Are they going to, you know, talk to their teammates and make them work in practice? You know, I get tired of being the cop, I tell them. You know, I get tired of yelling and screaming, but if I don't do it, who is? I'm their coach. It's my job to make them reach their potential. And I constantly tell them, I'm going to make you do what you don't want to do to be what you want to be. And so what I'm telling them is I'm going to make them bust their butts in practice so that the games are easier. Players don't like that. Everybody will go easy. If I'm easy, they'll go easy. If I'm easier, they're going to be easier in practice. I've got to stay after them and continue to coach them hard, and that they've got to respond. And that's the thing that I appreciated about last week is I was on them hard, not only on the field but in meetings. I got after them big time. They'll tell you that. But they responded to it. And that's what it takes. You got to respond to what we're doing. I've been doing it for years. They got to listen to what we're saying, and they got to do what we're telling them to do. And if they do that, we will have more success.
Quick follow-up to that. How do you get, that probably no answer, but how do you get Ryan to duplicate the kind of game he has to have success?
Yeah.
He has to be consistent with his throw, complete passes.
Right.
Keep the defense on.
Well, there's a couple things, and it all starts up front. You know, we moved Harris Howard from left guard to left tackle. I think that might have helped a little bit. You know, it made us stronger up front. It all starts up front. If we can run the football, he'll be successful throwing the football. If we can protect, he'll be successful. You know, we didn't do a very good job of that against Tulsa. We didn't run the ball very well, and then we had to throw it, and they just teed off on us. We've got to be balanced. You know, I'm a big believer that you've got to be able to run the football because the big passing plays you're going to make are off play action passes. So it all starts up front. If we have more success up front and are able to run the ball, he will have more success like he did. Yeah.
You just mentioned Harris Howard, but that adjustment worked as well as you could have possibly hoped for, huh?
It did. Harris is our best offensive lineman, and you know he's our captain for that game, and you know he's improved tremendously. His attitude's great. When he was younger, I was on him too. He can tell you that, but he responded as well, and he understands. And I think it did help us. Now the third series, we put him at guard, and we put Hussein back at left tackle because we don't want to destroy the guy. He's going to be a good football player. Just hasn't performed as well as we need him to perform right now. But he's going to be a good player as well. But we feel that we're playing the best five guys starting right now. Yeah.
One of the, I guess, issues as this program has been developing is not just getting wins, but once you have wins, mounting them, stringing them together.
Right.
You could talk about that challenge and changing that, you know, because that's part of the mindset too.
Exactly. And Tammy, that's what I'm talking about, maturity. You know, we now have to put games back to back. We can't just win and pat ourselves on the back and say, oh, that was great, and then go lose the next one. You know, we got to continue to work hard in practice. We got to continue to improve. We got to go that way, not like that. And so if we can get better at practice, improve the things we're deficient at, and win another game, then it starts giving, credibility to what you're doing.
Bob, you talked about Trent Mackey transferring in, getting that kind of play in the program, obviously making the program better. When you're recruiting, and you're recruiting players from his level,
Yeah.
do you talk about Trent and players like him, so that this caliber player came to play here, we want you to caliber here as well? Can he be an amazing recruiter?
Well, I think what we do is we let them say it more than we say it. Trent does a great job as a host in recruiting. Desmond Moses, who transferred from Iowa, does a great job with families and with recruits on their visits. So it's the players that got to convince them more so than me, the coach. They've got to tell them, hey, I made a mistake. I should have come here originally. Particularly a guy from Louisiana. Here's a guy like Trent Mack, who's the best player in the state, and he leaves the state, and now he's back, and he's back for a reason. He feels comfortable. This is his home, and that's what we try to portray to recruits. And it's helping because we're getting more players from Louisiana and from New Orleans. Anything else? Thank you very much.